Hey guys, we're here with another special guest, King of Flames32, who's usually pretty high rated on DB, but also just one of the most experienced players on Dueling Book as well. So I guess maybe is there anything you'd like to say about yourself? Maybe in terms of how long you've been playing the game, or maybe even why you decided to play this variant in particular in this upcoming format.
Playing it off and on since, gosh, I don't know, maybe sometime in GX. And if you can't beat Ishizu, join them, pretty
Essentially,
much.
yes. So, yeah, I guess maybe I can just go over the card list and you can sort of go over your reasoning. I think for me personally, I'm kind of interested, you know, why the 60 card sort of version, and B, maybe we can start with the Despia ratio, which is the one branded, the two tragedy, and the, I guess, two Alubers, as well as the one branded opening. So, what's your reasoning on playing this package in this build, and what are you sort of trying to end on?
You're trying to end on Masquerade largely just because. So in a real life event, you want a card to kind of discourage your opponent from playing so it doesn't go into time, and Masquerade does that because if it does go into time, you're guaranteed to win if you drop it. So seems like a decent meta pick, and the idea of going into Ishizu was that you wanted cards that generated immediate advantage and wouldn't just get shuffled back and not and lose value. I was messing around with Shadows earlier, hence the 60 card build. Uh, and that was a bit bricky, so I just wanted to try the Despia stuff out. Plus, having access to Guardian Chimera and a second field spell to search off of the Rainbow Bridge is kind of nice sometimes.
Right. And so for the people that maybe not familiar with this package, what does it really do, and why is it played?
So a lot of the times you just try to do the Nomo Teal plays, and then if you mill a tragedy, you can add a Lubo, and then a Lubo add either theater or opening. It's usually you just like make Redio with Sharon and a Lubo, or you summon Masquerade and just standard Teal plays, and you might end on a Masquerade Dragon. It's something I've been testing. I don't know if it's good yet though.
Hmm. And so I guess for oh yeah, oh sorry, um, for the rest of your tier package, so you do have the three have this the crime, heartbeat, two Sulik, two scream, three rhino, three Sharon, and the three Merly, as well as the three field spell, of course. Anything is this ratio working out for you in this 60 card variant, or is there anything you are considering changing?
It's working out fairly well. I might cut it down a little bit. The because you want to hit the tiers off the mills, but you also I would say that the ratio is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I might bump Celiac up to three because you really want to hit it when a meal
Right.
because it's just like mill and Celiac in a name. You're just in such a higher, well, better position to win because then you have follow up, and if they don't have someone, well, even if they do have someone to stop the shuffle back, then you have another card that they have to stop. So it's a little bit annoying to deal with.
Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing the foolish burial goods is also there to help with.
Yeah, being able to send Celiac or Rainbow Bridge of Salvation for that play. It's something I've been testing. I'm not think it might be worth running just because it doesn't lose your shuffle back. So if you mill five and you mill the trap, then you're able to add the field spell and the Crystal Beast. And the Crystal Beast is pretty good because it's an aqua. So like if you have like Sharon, Rhino Heart, you can shuffle it back instead of shuffling a Tio on the field, and then you can end on like Drello plus your usual. I mean, yeah, Drello or Redio plus your usual setup. I usually go for Drello myself. Well, I mean Redio myself just because it doesn't play as hard into Nib. Well, I don't know.
How are you liking the three Fenriers?
I might cut it, but the card wins games on its own. But a lot of times, if you say like if you have like Fenrir or the Nib in your hand, and you can stop them from going off, but then you need to draw into your engine. because you can't drop the Fenrir, then you just lose the nib token. It's a good card. I might cut it if I decide to play a 40 card build and try to do something more consistently. I mean, it's also just one of my favorite cards they printed recently. It's just like makes games go out a lot grindier.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess for hand traps, you're actually playing three Imperm, three Nib, and the one Druid's Worm. So interesting that. How are you liking Nib? I know people were kind of writing this card off for the last few weeks, or couple weeks or so.
Uh, it's really good going first. It's kind of like they play into it sometimes going second. It's in a weird spot where like sometimes you have to draw imperm and then nib, but if you do, you probably blow them out. It's dead a lot of the time too. I'm not sure how long. Well, I'm not sure if people are gonna keep playing around it by making Rukalos summon five or so.
Mm-hmm.
They probably will, but I don't know. I might take it out. Kind of looking at draw this format just because you have a lot of good matchups for it. Like even in the mirror, it seems like you don't stop them from going off all the way, but they don't draw as much.
Right, right. Okay, and then lastly, we have the new Ishizu cards, which are pretty busted. I guess you're playing just three of each. You are playing a 60 card list. I guess not much to say. I'm not sure if there's anything you want to
Cards
comment
are
on that,
nice.
but
Yeah, you just want to mill as many of the shuffle backers in Artemio and then just stop their plays, I guess.
yeah. And the last card is card destruction. And so I don't know if you managed to resolve this yet, because I know it's a 60 card list, but do you like it? Is it a little dangerous in a potential mirror that you're not sure in game one?
I think I might keep it in. It's in a weird spot where, yeah, they get more value off of it, but you have more ability to do things as a turn player than they do.
Hmm.
And Tio's one of those decks that can make a flexible end vote, so having that information does seem kind of nice, but it's probably bad. I'm probably just scoping.
Right. Sure. Okay, then that's the main. I guess moving on to the extra, we have the one Kaleido 2 kit, the Rukalos, Garura, Redoer, Elf, Dark, Mud Dragon, Dragostipelia, the two, uh, excuse me, Masquerade, the one Chimera, and the Dweller, and Zeus. So I guess the pretty much at least the 12 cards are very standard for a tier extra deck. I guess the ones we've mentioned, the branded Despia cards rather.
Yeah.
Anything you wanted to mention about the extra deck in terms of what you might change? I know you're missing a sprint here that you might be considering.
Yeah. Might put it in over the second Kid so that one does come up a little bit. You don't really use the non-fusions too often. Like it's mostly just Redo, Elf, Dark sometimes, Drello for the Mio, but I feel like you have a little bit of space, but I'm not sure what to put it in yet. Guardian Chimera in particular is a pretty good card.
In this particular list, like, does the double masquerade come up enough that you would still want to play this set too?
Probably not. I'm just messing around with the ratios right now. This find it funny that in some matchups you just like double masquerade and just try to burn them out, like against Flunderies and that runic stun deck. I feel like masquerade's the MVP, especially if
Mm-hmm.
you can get opening in the grave so you can protect it from the pop spell.
Okay, I guess
Um,
that's it for the extra then. And lastly, for the side, triple evenly, triple dark lure, triple cyclone, the three droll, and the sphere modes. How is sphere mode with this list and in this format in particular so far?
I've yet to draw it once when I sighted it in. I do you think it's one of the better cards because people aren't really playing around it for the most part? And I think like I played against Runic Sprite here earlier, and that deck I think you either have to have like Imperm Nib, D Shifter, Droll, or maybe Spear Mode to beat the board going second, although that's And I feel like it's one of the better cards. I've been playing it in other decks, and a lot of times people just end on three monsters with no follow-up if you spear mode at start of main phase.
Mm, right. And Droll, are you liking that so far?
In theory, because the top decks are what the Ishizu Miro, maybe some Sprite variant, and Flundo, and Drill does a good amount against all three of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the rest's pretty standard. I think a lot of people are pretty much playing evenly and Dark Ruler and the Cyclone for the back row removal. So, thank you very much for doing this quick deck profile. Really, really appreciated. Any shout outs you wanted to mention before we end the call?
Thank you, Cloud Strife, for giving me my first 60 card tier list, and yeah, I'm at.
Amazing. Awesome. And that's it, everyone. Take care.